everybody. I just ran back to my chair because I had to grab my coffee. Welcome to Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist with Liz Gale. And today we are going to have a very short but sweet episode. We're going to talk to a pretty cool individual that I met recently who came from a different cult and has a different path. But you guys know I love me an artist. You know I love someone who's healing through art and is reclaiming their power. And so I'm so excited to bring Star on. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we're even kind of new acquaintances. I feel a little rushed this morning. But do you want to give a bit of info about just who you are and where you're coming from?
Sure. Well, I'm currently in Costa Rica, in case people are wondering the getup and the just for context. For context, it's extremely hot here, and I am wearing that, hence the getup. Just wanted to give that context. But yeah, but I've been based in New York for the last, I guess, since 2019. And I wrote a show recently that is premiering in New York at the New York Fringe in April called Clit Cult, which is about my experience in the sex cult of OneTaste.
That's right. I feel like because we have limited time today, I'm not going to dive all into the cult beliefs, but just to be clear, this was like an orgasmic meditation, very heavy on the sex acts as a form of like spiritual release and connection. Does that sound right?
Yeah. So they promoted orgasmic meditation as a 15-minute practice that was designed to heal trauma in your body. And they said that it was a Tibetan Buddhist meditation practice. However, there is no direct connection to Tibetan Buddhism, and there's actually no meditation involved in the practice.
Okay. That's interesting. What did you find? What was the practice?
The practice is, it is a clitoris stroking practice where they at the time were very gendered, right? So a man would stroke a woman's clitoris for 15 minutes in a very specific region of the genitals. They were very specific in that it was the upper left-hand quadrant of the clitoris. And it was supposed to support, it was technically a goalless practice. It was supposed to support a woman to feel, and for the person stroking to feel. It was kind of like a somatic experience where you weren't having a goal of an orgasm, even though that was the name of the practice. The point was not to have it. It was to feel the different waves and circulations of energy and just the different things that you felt when this happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. From part of just random side note, from part of my healing, I have looked into the roots of Scientology and kind of found some of the sex magic stuff from like the 40s and the occult that they were involved in. And there's a lot of rabbit holes there, but there's obviously a lot of power with sex, whatever it is, however I don't claim to totally understand, but it doesn't surprise me that a cult would be about that. I have so many questions, actually. Could a man participate? Like other than the smoking?
Yeah. So this is such a controversial question because I feel like it comes up all of the time. No, like in a good way, because people are because they sell you that it's a female. I mean, again, gender roles, right? Like there's that whole conversation, but they're basically targeting women, any women, meaning anyone who has a pussy, anyone who has a vagina. Yeah. Like it's right. Like the sex is very much designed, or not the sex, but the sex act, the clitoris stroking practice, like you need to have a clitoris, right? So then the idea that can a man also have it, well, it would defeat the purpose, right? Because if it's a clitoris stroking practice, so then, but here's the controversy though, because at the same time, I heard stories, and I didn't experience it during my time there, but I heard stories about something called magic school. I still don't know what it is to this day. There was apparently during this thing called magic school that happened at OneTaste that you had to spend like a lot of money for. It was like in the upper level kind of. And apparently if you went there, there was a male practice, like a stroking practice, but for men. But again,
Okay.
that wasn't something that was like given free. I never experienced that, so I don't know. But
Sounds like almost like a cult within a cult.
sorry, a tree may have just fallen, just for context, in case anyone heard that. But can you hear that?
I just did. I mean, it wasn't loud or anything, but I heard a little pop, and then I saw your face.
Okay,
Is it
just in
falling
case.
on you? Are
I
you in
don't
a
think
safe
so.
position?
I'm in a safe place, but it
Okay.
just sounds like a tree or a branch. I'm very much in the jungle, and so
Okay.
if during any point in this podcast a tree or other particle falls, I might make a face, but keep going.
Okay. That happens in the jungle.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with this group?
Yeah, so I got involved because at the time I was a yoga instructor, and I mean, I still am. I'm still certified to teach yoga, but I was deeply embedded in sort of like wellness culture, spiritual communities. I didn't identify as a seeker at that time in my life, but I think that that's a common term to define sort of those of us who are looking for answers. We're interested in subculture. We're interested in what's not the mainstream. I wanted to basically understand other things that I was not being taught. I was introspective, and so I was in these different groups and communities. And in these different groups and communities that I was a part of, OneTaste very much was coming up a lot. So I was at this event. I'm Jewish, and I was at a Shabbat in the desert, like a Jewish
Right. Retreat. Was it a retreat?
a celebration of Shabbat, and sort of trying to get back to like more traditional tribal ways of, I guess, celebrating this ritual, this Friday night ritual. So it was in Joshua Tree at a Shabbat in the desert, and someone was there from OneTaste wearing a OneTaste t-shirt. Interesting. And was like soliciting for OneTaste. Like the whole time this person was talking about OneTaste. And then separately, I was living with a yoga teacher friend of mine who met on Maui. And she was hosting events at our house, and I didn't even know, because she had asked me to be out of the house during certain hours. And I thought, okay, for work or something. And then I find out later it was for OneTaste.
So it was in your house.
It was, she was hosting turn-ons, these things, these events at my house. And I didn't live there for very long, but I was her roommate for a little while. And so yeah, it was physically in my house.
Wow.
So it just felt very, I was in proximity to this. And people, I think at that time, it was a particular time in culture and in politics. And OneTaste was just, people were genuinely interested in like, connection and sexuality, like especially in the Bay Area, because it's like it's very normalized, like sex positivity, kink, BDSM. Like it's very normal in the Bay Area to just be like, curious about these things. And that's the home of OneTaste is in San Francisco. And I think, I was interested in following, that path around like, I'm curious about, I want to know how to have better pleasure, and, and there's spirituality involved. Like it was curious to me, but also I was just in proximity to it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I could see a situation where I would like run into something a few times and then maybe feel as if it was destined for me because it, was like kind of everywhere. And that would probably pique my curiosity.
Yeah, it was definitely that as well. I just felt like a lot of people were constantly, but the thing is that I also noticed, like I did flag it early on because, like Jehovah's Witnesses stand kind of like at the entrance to the metro in New York City, and like the way that the Hare Krishnas position themselves in public spaces, there was a similar pattern that I was noticing with OneTaste, and kind of like in front of Whole Foods in Williamsburg in Brooklyn, there's people from Greenpeace that used to just literally, they were there every single day. And it was similar with OneTaste, where I did kind of notice that they would wear the shirts and they would stand like in certain places that I attended a lot. And I was like, like, so there was two things happening. I was noticing that maybe they were soliciting, and then also there were some really cool people I know who had like gone through the program or had like attended and thought it was cool. So there was buzz and hype around it. But then I was kind of torn, because I'm like, I also see that this could maybe not be something I want to join.
What made you then like decide? What was the factor that got you in?
Yeah, I was not having the kind of sex that I wanted to be having. And, you know, I was on the dating apps and I wasn't really feeling like I was having deep relationships with people. And a lot of the men that I was dating were not really people that I felt like were the right people for me. And I wanted to explore. You know, I was in my 20s and I'm like, I want to know what more there is in terms of pleasure and sex and even just people who might be into that. And I thought maybe I can meet some people here and have some good experiences and maybe find, you know, a partner. And so that's where I was at. And it ultimately, you know, it being so frequent in my space, I was just like, okay, if I want to do something, maybe this is, you know, I'll go try it. So I went there on my own volition, kind of like, let me see what this is about.
I guess I would ask you this, a two-parter, like what good did you get out of it? Because cults typically have something good that, you know, kind of hook you at first. I can imagine it was very pleasurable. I can imagine there was like a lot of really good physical, I would hope. Was there? Tell me. You tell me, because I have a lot of things going on asking over here.
I mean, I wish I could just be like, yeah, I had some great sex, and it was actually like, I mean, if that's a huge part of my story, is that I'm a survivor of domestic violence and narcissistic abuse. And
not good, not pleasurable, everybody.
No. I mean, I think that places like that really breed narcissism, and they really enable narcissistic behaviors from men and women. And there's such complicity around abuse, and there's like not really a great consent culture. So a lot of the practices, the 15-minute orgasm practice, that I was having practices with men, and they would do things that were not a part of the practice, which is violating consent, which is assault, which is, you know, something that happened there. And so like the reason that I got into the cult in the first place, I mean, I wanted to experience female ejaculation. Like I had never like had that experience. And like, yes, I did experience that when I was there, but but if it happens coupled with trauma and coupled with violation of consent, it doesn't really, like, I don't consider this pleasurable. I'm like, I had these experiences, but it was very disempowering. It wasn't from the coolest thing that I did was I went to a sex dungeon, and like, that was pretty cool. But at the same time, the people that I was with and the people that I was having these experiences with were not good people. So even though I'm in this place that brings me joy, that I'm excited to explore, I really wasn't with healthy people. So when I look back on that experience, it's coupled with a lot of like shame or trauma around it, even though I also remember it being like this really cool space that I really, really enjoyed. So it's both, you know, there's some darkness, there's some shadow there. And there's also like joy for me personally, because I had always wanted to go to a sex dungeon. But I think like that's the thing about these types of communities. It's that I genuinely was curious. I genuinely wanted to explore certain things, but I just didn't have safe or good people around me. And so was there anything good that I learned out of OneTaste? I think that it's more like personal lessons for me and what I had to grow into. And it's sort of like, I was looking outside of myself. Maybe I felt like there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't attracting a good partner, or that I, you know, didn't know how to do sex right or something. And I learned like none of that was true. And so like there's some lessons in that, some bigger picture lessons, but it kind of, I mean, it also just showed me, like, I think I'll always have an interest in sexuality and in sex and um, in alternative ways of exploring bodies and pleasure. I think that's just naturally I'm curious about that kind of a thing. You know, I think that that's completely human and natural to want to have better sex and connection with people. Like, we're here, we want to connect with each other. So, you know, that's a thing that I still probably will always want. But I just have learned the difference between like who I let into my personal space and who am I learning from, and how do they use power, and how are they teaching me these things, and do they create responsible spaces, you know?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I can get the impression that being on the inside of it is so different than what is projected.
Yeah.
Like the promise of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. That is a lot, girl.
Yeah, it was super fun. I had great time.
I know. That's really interesting though. So tell me, just for the record, normally we would talk a lot longer, but I just want to make sure I get the important stuff in this morning. So time-wise, how long were you in, and then how long have you been out?
Yeah, so I feel like it was a slow burn, I guess is that a term? Like because I was introduced to it so many times and I was kind of circling around it for so long. I think that I finally went to like an intro or something in 2015, 2014, 2016, somewhere along those lines. Probably my guess is 2015 or 2016 was when I took like my first, like when I actually learned the practice. Because Trump got elected in 2015 or 2016, right? 2016?
Probably.
Okay. The first time,
I blacked out. Sorry.
I know. It was like the year of like the Women's March, the pink pussy hats. Like, so around that time. And so then after that, so like 2016, 2017, I would say somewhere between 2018, around 2018 was when I really pivoted away. And then like by 2019 was done.
You were out. That's
so it's like almost 3 years.
Okay. And from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, like Scientology, in OneTaste, there were levels, there were courses to take, there was like a business type structure on top of the practice, and that you kind of have to pay to play. Is that accurate? Can you tell me a little bit, like, and how much do these courses cost?
Yeah, so you get something free, of course, like in the beginning, which is the turn on, and it's like there's nothing sexual about it. It's just sort of like getting people to get acquainted with this organization, but feels very corporate. It feels like it's just sort of like communication games. And then at the end, there's tables with staff behind you, kind of like pitching you courses. And like typically the next step from there is the intro to OM, which is roughly $100. And I'm only speaking from my years that I was there. I don't know what it would be like now, or I think they even changed their names and I don't even know what's going on with their organization now. But that's like $100, maybe $150 to learn the practice. And then from there, it was all really strange because they wouldn't necessarily let you know about classes unless like you were invited to like it was like they chose to let you know about things. So the course that they pitched me on, but I had kind of wanted to know more about, was called CP, which stands for the coaching program, which is thousands of dollars to essentially be a certified OneTaste coach. I still to this day don't know what the coaching program was. I left halfway through. I don't really know what it was about. It felt very confusing. And then there were other courses, like apparently Magic School was one of them, to work with Nicole, I think was close to $10,000. Don't quote me on this, because I honestly don't remember the exact numbers, but
Nicole is one of the founders.
and it could have been more than that, honestly. Yeah, Nicole is the founder of OneTaste.
Okay.
Nicole Dejon. But the thing is, like, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, so like lower levels were 100, 150 to maybe $500. I think there was and then it just kept going up and up to like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay. Does the name Victor Bronco ring a bell to you for your?
No, why? What is that?
Well, okay, so when we were talking previously, you had mentioned some potential connection about Scientology and OneTaste. Do you want to tell people what that is?
Yeah. So basically, when I started to question what was really going on, so when Nicole, basically, there's people that had been out of OneTaste that had created a Facebook group for people who wanted to transition out of the organization. And I basically just started hearing the truth. And I was like talking to someone who had been out, and he said, because I was like, they said this is a Tibetan Buddhist meditation practice. It has nothing to do with Tibetan Buddhism. Like, this is not, the math isn't mathing. Things are not lining up. Like, what's going on? And this guy told me, who had been out of OneTaste and who had apparently been, I think he had been like one of the first people in the organization. I don't remember his name. It was a very interesting interaction. But he basically told me, he said that the story that they tell about the origin story of OneTaste isn't true, that OneTaste began because of the purple people who were the purple people was a term for the people who were part of Lafayette Morehouse, which is based in Lafayette, California. And the technique that OneTaste coined or branded or whatever came out of the technique that they taught at Lafayette Morehouse. And apparently the founder of Lafayette Morehouse was a Scientologist, and that there were some connections between the founders of Lafayette Morehouse, Nicole, and Scientology. I haven't done much research recently about it, but I just remember that he made the connection between like how we got here and why they created the structure that they created at OneTaste. It was like mirroring some of the structures apparently in Scientology.
Yeah, and not necessarily the practice, but like the courses, the
courses, exactly.
Pay to play, the going up, the inviting people, the secret information.
The secret information, exactly. And sort of like the more that you get up, like there's like different, and you and I were talking too about like the linguistics and like the specific kind of terms they want you to use, and the way that there's a thing, similarities. Yeah.
Right. That's so interesting, and I'm definitely going to go down many rabbit holes on this.
Yeah, we can do a part 2. Like, I would like to talk about this rabbit hole because I found that to be so interesting. I mean, I'm happy to like talk more about it because I do talk about this in my show, because I remember it because it blew my mind, because I was like, wait, what? Because they're telling you this story, like, and she tells it a lot, the story of she was wanting to become a nun, and a monk like showed her this. I'm like, what? Like, a monk showed you a clit stroking practice? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so it's really interesting to debunk kind of like the origin story myth.
Definitely. And over my time and my healing and understanding Scientology, turns out it's the blueprint for several cults, which is very axiom, pretty much plagiarized. There's so many. I don't know. I used to think like, let's get Scientology out of here for the Scientologists. And now I'm like, let's get Scientology out of here because it's a freaking blueprint that everybody else is starting their own cults with. It's a disaster.
I know. They're like, wait, what did Scientology do? I want to do that, because like they're doing so well and they've sustained themselves for so many years. They're just like, wait, if you want to become a cult leader, just like look at what Scientology did.
I know. It's fascinating to me because I don't know if you found this, but when I sort of debunked my own cult upbringing, I realized they're kind of a dime a dozen. Like, there's similarities, and they don't all just reinvent the wheel. A lot of them plagiarize what has worked for others.
Totally. But that's the kind of what's so interesting, is that once you like, or you and I understand that blueprint, you just spot it. So you're just like, oh yeah, no. Right. Like Landmark Forum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another one. There are so many. I wonder if it works against me sometimes though, because I get kind of skeezed out even when things might be normal. I'm like, this is too groupy for me. This is too I get weird, but that's okay. Um, Tell me about your show, please.
Yeah.
This is what I want to talk about the
Oh my gosh,
most.
I'm so excited about this show. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, so my show is called Clit Cult.
Clit Cult. I like
Um,
saying
yeah,
it.
it's a one woman comedy show. So this is the first show that's super heavy in storytelling and stand up. I think most of my shows have been highly theatrical before. I used visuals, projection screen, like all kinds of things. This is the first show where I'm really stripped down and I'm like telling you this story because it is a story. How did I get into OneTaste? How, what happened? And I have a collaborator named Charlie O'Connor. So Charlie and I wrote music and lyrics to the show. So there's 3 original musical numbers, which I'm really excited to share. They're comedic. They're comedy songs.
I love it. What a
Yeah,
great way to like process I mean, it's very unique. You don't meet a lot of people who go through an experience like this and then they come out the other side and they're like, well, I wrote some songs about it and they're pretty funny and I'm gonna perform. Oh, you don't see that very often. That's very unique and
thank
special.
you.
Um,
Thanks.
so what okay, back to the show. Sorry. I fangirled you for a second there. It is part of, what did you say, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival? Is that right?
I mean, not yet. No, it's the New York City Fringe. No, the New York City Fringe. So it's running at New York City Fringe April 2nd through 10th.
I think I have a link. You sent me a link, which I'll put up here in a minute, but okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be at the Wild Project, which is in the East Village. So the Fringe has different venues that you can see shows. The Fringe, I think, is about a month long in New York. And so my show is only running from the 2nd of April through the 10th of April.
Okay.
And so there's 5 performances. I'm going to be doing some preview shows before that, I think. A few little, like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I'm doing a show at Stonewall, actually, on March 26th. I think I'm going to be premiering one of my songs there. And then I'm doing another show, which hasn't been determined yet. But that'll all be up either on my website or on Instagram. I usually post on Instagram. But the show dates are all listed on the Fringe's website, which I gave you the link for that for the tickets.
Yes. And after we're done, I don't want to waste any time with you. So after we're done chatting and you have to go, I'll pull it up on the screen. That's fascinating. So I know you have to go soon, but I guess my question is just like how does it feel? How does it feel to put this together and to know you're going to be performing it? And if you have performed it, like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that I would be publicly talking about this. Like, this wasn't something that I ever felt like, oh, I need to talk about, like, why do I need to talk about it? Because, I was in therapy, like, I didn't feel the need to do anything with it. But someone from my team like sent me an article about what's been happening with the founders and the co-founders being tried on trial. And then also what's been happening in our world in general with like narcissistic collapse. And it just occurred to me that I have lived through a lot and I probably have some helpful information. And if I shared about my experience, maybe it could support other people. So in that way, I feel like it feels good as like a person who feels I'm an educator and an artist. It's like, oh, that's exciting. I can share. And then there's like some other energy around, I don't want to say that it's fear, but it's like, with my other show that I did for the last couple of years called Villain Era, I was really scared to talk about what had happened. I don't know if I shared this with you, but like going viral and getting bullied off the internet for like 6 years, that was literally like 2 or 3 months after I had left OneTaste, like not even like fresh. And that was in 2019, but it lasted for many years. And so publicly coming out and talking and saying this happened to me, I was really afraid to talk. I don't really have that level of fear or anxiety around this, but I think anytime that you open yourself up and you're like, hey, there's always a little bit of like, there's just a feeling I get. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling good and strong. And then also like, oh, yeah, I don't know. There's always two sides to it, I think.
I totally get that, because sometimes I'll share, I don't know, I totally get that. Have you heard of the Brene Brown, the concept of a vulnerability hangover? Have you heard of this?
Oh my, tell me. Sorry, I don't remember what it is.
I'll
Tell
probably
me.
get it kind of wrong. You can refer to her as the source of this information. But basically, it's this idea that some people get it like a hangover after they're very vulnerable. So if you like went on a live and you told your whole story, and then after that, you might, not you, but anybody might have, could be anything, like an emotional crash, or you could feel physically like nauseous, retreat. And that concept really struck. I have that. I get that a lot. I'm a very open person, and I'll push myself to say, we're going to be vulnerable. We're going to talk about it. And then sometimes afterward, I'll get like I don't know, I want to run and hide in my bed, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. I don't think I'll experience that with this show, but I do think that the first time that I mean, like, there's like the first moment of like stepping outside and being like, oh, I just said this. Like, I definitely have experienced that. It's interesting because I feel like over the years, so many topics that I address in my work for many years were kind of taboo, edgy, like not things that, you know, people were really talking about at the time, but now are so normalized through Gen Z and social media. I feel like a lot of things are much more acceptable to like address. And that's been really rewarding as an artist. It's like, oh, I know that if I'm talking about some of these subjects, like it's going to be way easier than if I had explored this in 2018, which is when I started to do solo theater more professionally. So I do feel that there's been an evolution in how we consume subject matter, but I also feel like, and at the same time, I feel like people aren't really pushing boundaries and edges anymore as much.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the show, well, I don't know what, because I haven't done it yet, but I hope that it lives somewhere in the space of like, wow, I'm really happy. I really want to hear this story. And also like, ooh, that was kind of edgy. I liked it, you know, like somewhere in between the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because as a comedy, that's what you said your show was.
Yes, it is.
I love that, because I don't know if you agree with this. Tell me your thoughts. I've noticed sometimes if I bring it in a really hardcore story, sometimes it's too much for people. It's like, but if you kind of serve it with a smile, or you can kind of laugh a little bit about it, sometimes people can hear it in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
I find
Comedy is definitely the easiest way to like digest challenging material for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, I don't want to keep you longer because I'm watching the clock. She's got a hard out. She's got stuff to do, guys. She's very busy and important. Would love to have and chat another time if you're up for it. And once I kick you out of here, I'll show all your links and make sure everybody can follow you and support you. How can we support you from afar if we can't make it to New York?
I think if anyone feels comfortable sharing with their community, just even posting about this show online, you can find the poster to my show on my Instagram page. So if people would share, if people can share my poster and share the link of where to buy tickets, just spreading the word about the show could really support me. Like as an independent artist, you know, I fund all my own work.
Right.
That's a huge thing for me, is looking and finding the right people who want to partner with me, who do want to fund work like this. But yeah, at this point, I think sharing the show is the best way to support. And thanks for asking.
Yeah, of course. Okay, everybody. So we're going to follow her. We're going to share. If we're going to New York, we're going to go. And all in all, thank you for coming on. And if you ever want to chat again, there were some questions, but we'll save them for another
Thanks.
time. We can talk more.
Okay.
And I'm going to kick you out of here. Go do your Zoom call and I'll share your information. It was good talking
Thanks
to
so
you.
much. Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Okay, see ya. Oh my gosh, she's so sweet. I got hooked up with her from another podcaster. And we chatted for a while and we just were like, oh, wow, we have a lot in common. And I don't know if you guys also remember. Let me show you her stuff real quick before we forget. How do I do this? Hold on, guys. Share the screen and I'll put a link in there too. Okay, so here, oh, look at this picture. Actress, playwright, producer. I was captivated by her honesty, her naturalness on stage. Here we go. Star Stone. I had said her name earlier. Clit Cult. I mean, that name packs a punch, huh? Let's see if I can. Here's the link. So I'm going to put this in the chat. And then I will put it in the description of this video in a little bit. And I will also put her website in the chat. There we go. Honestly, this is the freaking future, guys. I don't know if you also remember, there was a woman, let me see if I can find it. It's called, her name is Kathy. I'm always going to get her wrong. Hold on, guys. I'm going to show you something. I think one woman shows or one person shows are just some of the most fascinating. Do you guys remember this one? Squeeze My Cans by Kathy Schenkelberg. It's a hard one for me. I don't know why. Yeah. So these are the kinds of places we're all going to go follow Star, by the way. These are the kinds of places and people that I look up to. This is like the kind of activism that I want to be involved in. I want to be involved in art for healing, right? Entertainment for healing, humor for healing. And when I meet another kindred spirit out there who's like gone through it and that's how they choose to process and deal, I feel like I found a kindred spirit, right? We all have our own ways. Everybody has a right to their own way and their own way to protest, their own way. And protest doesn't just mean standing outside a building and being like down with the cult. There are other ways to protest. There was a very famous Mexican protest one time where everybody just turned their back at the Capitol and started bawing like sheep. And because there were so many of them, they couldn't get in trouble individually because everybody was doing it. That's a protest. There are just so many ways to protest. And of course, ways not to protest. But I don't know. I feel such a kindred connection with anybody who chooses to deal with their trauma. And, to be honest with you, as an artist, I'm not even sure that all of us are choosing this. Sometimes if you really are an artist in your heart and soul, it kind of chooses you. So yeah. So I'll see if I can have Star on again. Like I said, I actually rescheduled on her and popped her on today and she had other stuff to do. But when her and I first got chatting, we probably talked for far longer than we had planned. So we'll get her back on at some point. I'd love to start doing some panels too of different cult members, like not just Scientology, ex-cult members and like some panels. That'd be really fun. I have to make sure I pick everybody really carefully though. Curate my panel for my vibes, for my channel's vibes. Thank you. You can see my connection with Star. And I'm sorry I didn't get all your questions up there. She really did have to go super fast. I will add, oops, wrong one, sorry. I will definitely add her links to the description after this. Yeah, she was interesting, right? It was really short and sweet. It's funny too, because I really wish I could watch her show, you guys. I wish I could go to New York and watch her show. What a dream that would be. I'll talk about it coming up though, but honestly, my life is going to be changing soon, guys. I got things on the plate. that we're going to push through. We're going to push through, but man, there's a lot going on lately. There was a protest in Iceland that toppled the entire government called a pots and pans revolution that got almost no media coverage in the USA. Is that when the women just straight up stopped working, all of them, and they kicked the bankers out? Because that's amazing. I think about running away to Iceland more often than I should, considering I've never been there and I don't want to go to somewhere cold or icy. I just think of it as a place to like, oh my gosh, Anne. Wow. Thank you so much. Holy guacamole, everybody. If you are getting a gifted membership, please say thank you. And no peace in my mind. I am not. And that is a part of what's going on with me. I am hoping to show my own art at the International Cultic Studies Association conference. I told you guys that I recorded a podcast with Sarah and Nippy. They have a Little Bit Culty podcast, and they're NXIVM survivors. Super cool. And I mentioned that to them, and they're going to be there presenting. So that's fun. But no, I'm not. I'm about to finish my 3rd out of 8th board, and I'm starting to think also maybe they don't even want me to have my boards there. Maybe I'm just supposed to do a digital presentation, like pictures. So I need to reach out and figure it out. Thank you again, Anne. Thank you. It really does help me on this channel to have memberships. And I see all these other creators out there like doing some pretty big membership prices and, you know, keeping things behind a paywall. And I don't think that's what I'm going to be up to just yet. What a nice thought, right? What a nice thought. Oh, my Lord. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got this morning. Today, as you guys all know, is kind of a different day in the Scientology world. And maybe there'll be some news out. I put out a video this morning, a little short that lost me 30 subscribers because I said what I really think. And you're going to see a lot more of that around here, to be honest with you. Because what's the point of doing all this? To not say what we mean and mean what we say, you know? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Kathy. I know. I think I can. And really, last I checked, artists are fucking crazy anyway. It takes sometimes the world to catch up with the artist, and you just have to do what you're going to do. And, you know. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Didn't lose you, did I, Anne? I know. Anne does get down. I try to be honest. Thank you. Be open, honest, and genuine. You can do it, Liz. Freaking, it's harder than it seems. Because, I mean, you guys know, no matter what I say up here, I'm going to piss people off. Because sadly, there's like a pretty hardcore mentality. Oh my gosh. And I've got some major tea that we're going to have to share. I'm going to call Nora, and I swear we're just going to have to go live on her channel. Because things are wild. Okay. Wild. Okay, good. Nora is? I'll check and see. We can all go. What's it called when you go over there after someone? Or you go... What's that called? Anyway, whatever. I'm going to stop here. Room raid. That's what it's called. Room raid, everybody. Room raid Miss Nora. She is the raging, thank you, the raging Buddha. And we'll hop over there and I'll chastise her for going live at the same time as me. How dare she? Just kidding. I don't play that game. Replay crew. All right, guys. Thanks for being here this morning. Again, it was short and sweet. I feel like we had a lot of clit talk today. We're going to let that settle. And yeah, go from there. And we'll get Star to come back. And I was also messaging with Amir, ex-Scientologist Amir this morning. I think he's going to come on next week. And I'll work on that panel. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it. Don't have to agree. But Liz, you always come from a good, real place. I respect that. Thank you. I do try to be true to myself And not just to myself, but like, you know that expression, leave the kitchen cleaner than you found it? Were you guys raised with that? Where it's like, if you're going to use a space, you need to leave it cleaner. Don't make it worse. And I haven't always succeeded at that. But I will say that like my values are to come in and just try to be honest and try to be fair. I don't always know that I pull that off, but it is my true self. And if you ever see me like hemming and hawing about whether I'm going to say something or not, it's because I genuinely don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to, I don't want people to feel less than. I don't want people to feel hurt. I don't want people to have broken hearts. I don't want any of that. And I don't really want to contribute to that. But I also do want to call out the things that I don't stand for and make it clear that that's not me, you know? Otherwise, you just might end up screaming outside a Cracker Barrel. All right, guys, I'm going to go and I'm going to harass Nora, okay? And I mean that in a friendly way. We're going to go room raid her. Don't actually harass anybody, okay? Just say hi, love ya. Okay, bye. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, by the way, tomorrow is hump day vibe check. So I've heard I'm a terrible dancer, but we might just have to have a dance party. So get your dancing shoes on tomorrow. See you there. Okay, bye.
She knows herself, she finds her way. Through art and joy, she shapes each day, crafting beauty from the past.